We're going to take some feedback from Brooklyn, New York. First of all, Brooklyn, I'm going to take this feedback because it's a great question, but your name is not Vincent LaGuardia Gambini. That was the character's name, Joe Pesci's character's name in My Cousin Vinny.
Vinny,
but thanks for the
bland. I remember that line. Bland.
But thanks for the feedback. The question is, my religiously conditioned mental prison doesn't let me feel okay about contacting spirits, although I know I can. How can I break this cycle about feeling bad about this gift? Awesome question.
Okay, well, first of all, I think that that comes from whatever religious upbringing that you have had, and I really do believe that the core of every single religion is the same, that we are looking to make a conscious contact with the divine. But then there are the rules, regulations, and certainly the idea of being born in sin, or even the fact that some people believe that there is a devil, which I don't. So, you have to come into, make a decision for yourself to say, I will accept the really positive, unified version of my, religious upbringing, and will leave aside this other torturous stuff. Now, some people can't because it's ingrained in them.
But know what? I grew up Catholic, Colette, and I look back at it now, and some of it's funny. Some of it has to do with like what you were talking about earlier, my personal views, and I totally get what this guy's saying because. Yeah. It's growing up Catholic, and this is my opinion, but, it's like, yeah, we're all one, but then the priests are more one than anyone,
I know, and then you got to pay for that. Like, you have to remember, too, that, and again, there's a lot of, like, what I have learned, too, is that I've had to learn to watch not to be too opinionated because, for example, I have a girlfriend who, is another author in Hay House who is Catholic and who has shown me the most extraordinary beauty in the ritual and really gets the purity of the Catholic faith and goes and understands that the word sin means to miss the mark and that and gets the allegory around it, et cetera, and really doesn't have all that weird crap attached to it. So, we have to really, that's the work that we have to do on an individual basis, and it is very difficult. I mean, I was raised Anglican by a Holocaust survivor who forgot to tell us we were Jews, and then I was put in a Catholic school, and when I came time for my turn to run the prayers, I got swarmed by a bunch of wacky nuns to tell me that I wasn't Catholic, so I couldn't lead the prayers, and I didn't understand that the Jesus that I fell in love with was different than yours. So I went through that whole thing, and never mind that when I became an intuitive, and I told people what I did for a living, I was dating this guy who then told me he couldn't bring me home to his parents because I was like, that it was a sin that I did this, and then somebody confronted me about Deuteronomy that says it was bad. I mean, like, what the heck? It's
I'll never forget sitting on my knees in a pew saying 50 Our Fathers for asking a question in CCD. I went to, because I did what they never ask you to do, and I picked up that book, the Bible, and actually read it. And I went to one of the priests, and I was like 13 years old. So I went there, and I said, hey, listen, I was reading this, and in this, Jesus said, don't refer to anyone as Father. Why do we have to call you Father? That cost me 50 Our Father.
Yeah.
And I never got my answer.
And, it's funny, too, because, you will see more violent stories. I mean, people, like, enslaving and slaughtering neighboring villages and then taking people as slaves. And these are all supposedly, told by God. And then what's so great about Moses, killing the firstborn? I mean, it's like deciding that a pestilence was going to come. I personally think that stuff scares me because if I'm going to be in alignment with that, then I'm in alignment with really nasty crap. Okay, so I want to know that God is good and that my religion is goodness, good orderly direction, and morality where you don't hurt other people. And I think the 10 Commandments are great. So for me, when I look at all this stuff that we're fed or that God's going to smite you down, what? No, God doesn't smite you down. It's like... or like that we're born in sin. Like what? Who says? I remember who was it? That man. I can't remember. It was the guy who wrote the Sermon on the Mount, or he did a book on that, and he believed that we were born in original blessing, and that the sin is that we have forgotten that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and and then he got all this flack, and he got excommunicated or something like that. I think he was a Catholic priest. So, it's like, well, who says? I really believe if you forget that any religion ever existed on Earth, like let's pretend it never existed, we still want to we are born to believe in a power greater than ourselves because we are spirit. And life is creative and it is good. It is life-affirming. And that's goodness is God, right? That's what I believe. I don't believe that God is capable of killing somebody or making somebody bad. We do that. Human beings are born with the same ability to be good and the same ability to be evil. And it is us, and it's like having two wolves. Which one are you going to feed? Because we've seen what humanity does. God didn't do that. And the devil didn't do that either. We did it.
It's a conscious choice you make every day, right?
Yeah. Exactly, or you get swept up in the mob. So anyway, that didn't answer that guy's question, but it got me started.
It was a great question. Thanks.